Hello, beautiful beings. Today we have a slight location change, which is absolutely wonderful. And mainly because I'm cooking a curry and I have a coaching call in 40 minutes. And I also just wanted to get some kind of awareness going with a certain theme in life. And that theme is consumption, as we're all very aware of our consumerist society and the kind of lifestyle a lot of us lead is very much based on what we consume, how we're consuming it, and the way in which we're sharing what we're consuming. So I make a practice of, especially whilst I'm back at home with my lovely fam, to make sure I'm cooking once a week and I'm putting intention and love and care and devotion into the food, because what we eat literally becomes who we are. So I know a lot of people who would be attracted to something I have to say probably are already very aware of the ice experiment, of the water experiment. I forget who it is, but it's on, it will be on YouTube if you're interested. It's about how if you speak to your water, it changes its molecular structure. And so they did a study of like a prayer being said over the water versus like angry rock music. And the way that the ice formed, the way that the molecules formed within the structure of the water itself changed its frequency, changed its pattern, it changed its artwork based on how it was spoken to. So this is just a little something for us to be mindful of, the fact that what we're putting in our bodies is also mainly consisting of water, especially if you're like me and your diet is mainly veg, something very water-based most of the time. And, you know, drinking your water. It's just something I feel like we should talk about today. So I started, I suppose, when I was quite young, being very aware of some of the things that society deemed as normal, like these chicken nuggets and the dinosaurs. If you're in the UK, we had these like chicken dinosaur things, fish fingers, like these heavily processed sausages and things like that. McDonald's, we didn't really eat McDonald's very much. But when my mum was doing her teacher training, for example, some days she was just so tired, we went to like a Burger King or something. And, you know, you can't blame people. Like, it's so convenient, it's so there. And when we live in a world that is literally quite stress-based, fast-paced, it's no wonder that that kind of food is what most people are going to gravitate towards, even if they have the awareness that it's not something that's actually particularly good for them. But I mean, there's plenty of scientific backing that shows essentially what choices of food we use can decrease the cell productivity, it can decrease or increase our brain cell capacity, the functioning of our brain, the functioning of our body. So it's literally like the most fundamental aspect of pretty much life itself. Like, if you want to live a good life, if you want to feel good in your body, eat well, eat foods that feel good for you. Like, it's my personal preference that I don't consume meat, and I am really mostly vegan these days. Sometimes I will have some cheese or some butter. But bless my parents, buy pretty good stuff generally. They have a farmer's market here, and yeah, most of the things that are grown there are locally sourced and produced in a fair, beautiful way. And I know places like India, for example, they bless their cows. They have these beautiful sacred relationships with their cows before drinking their milk and stuff like that. What I'm really saying here is I'm not trying to convince you of anything in terms of what choices you should make, but just maybe the way in which you're eating it, like how mindful we are, and also the preparation place. Like, if we're cooking from this place of like hurry, 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 don't want to do it, that's kind of what we're going to taste within the food. And also the effect it has on the body afterwards is essentially the exact same thing, right? So from my perspective, it's really important that even though every day at the same time, pretty much I'm on calls for work or on coaching calls where I'm learning from my mentors, I find it really important that I am putting in the energy and the effort to cook for my family so that we can all kind of feel within our body what it feels like to have really consciously prepared foods. And I've noticed now that that's kind of how my family cooks. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but mostly we enjoy the cooking process, and I love to cook for them. I love to. Sometimes the creations aren't so grand, but anyone I've lived with in the past knows that I love to cook. I might not always do it. Like sometimes it might just be cook a big lot and live off that for a few days, especially back in the student days. But there's just something really beautiful about it, like connecting with your food, especially when it's summertime and maybe like someone's grown something, you've grown some veggies, everything's kind of coming to fruition. You get to cook with the fresh foods. And I feel like sometimes, well, my brain can be quite quick to be like boring or like that's not interesting or whatever kind of brain capacity thought that denigrates what I know I actually want to be doing with my body or my being. And sometimes it's just about like allowing the brain to have that judgment and just saying, okay. Like if someone says something you don't agree with, if you actually don't care, you're just like, okay, you have your perspective, I'll have mine. Doesn't make any difference, does it really? But anyway, back to the food. Today we're going to put the intention in of activity and enjoyment of activity, like combining activities. When we get to a stage in life where we're relatively busy, maybe we have like passion projects, we have work projects, we have family projects, personal relationships, cooking, running. I've learned little tips and tricks that work for me anyway. Just in terms of like what things I can combine together. So for example, after I finish filming this video, I'm probably going to do my singing practice. So I've got my computer set up down here, and then I've got my coaching call in half an hour. And I can just keep an eye on the food whilst I'm doing it. All the time, the food is getting the loving intention that I'm moving with. So making it that moving prayer practice to genuinely feel in our bodies, the love and devotion and care that we can so easily forget just lies within us. Today, actually, I had like a really beautiful moment where I'd finished my run. I'd come back. I really did not want to run today, but I was so grateful I did when I got back. It was a bit rainy outside. It's just such a lovely feeling. Like my heart needed it. Like my chest wanted to run. I love that feeling. I wasn't always that way. Trust me, this is after a lifetime of training myself to be in this energy. What was I saying? Got distracted by a chili pepper. As you do. Oh yeah, I was on my yoga mat and I was kind of connecting with my body, and my toes just brushed against each other. And for the first time, I think maybe in a very long time, I had this sensation of almost like, when you fancy someone or you really like someone or you love someone very deeply and your toes like just touch in bed, or, your toes touch under the table, or you have this kind of connection with someone and it feels like electric. Well, I had that with myself. And it was just like, whoa, like I'm really a loving human to myself right now. And I don't say this to gloat or to say, you're not here, or maybe you are and we can just celebrate together. But it's like, this shit is possible, like it is genuinely possible. Coming from someone who at one stage for a good few years was suicidal and alcoholic and pretty much any substance under the sun I would put into my body just to cope with life. And I would call myself a high functioning stoner, which, yeah, was the spot on. I didn't let my studies slip, still got my first at university and still managed to make a living in Vietnam as a teacher. you know, we got our shit done, or a supermarket girl. I was a supermarket girl for a while too. Check out, girl. But my point here is wherever we are, however we feel in our bodies in relation to the life we're living, we really do only get one life in this body and this opportunity with this beautiful being, this beautiful ego we've come to know and love. And I really do believe it's worth the time investing in ourselves enough to the point where we can actually really love who we are, love the experience we're having. And even if we're making changes, you know, going to coaching calls and studying for that doesn't mean that I feel like I need fixing. It's more like, how much better can I get? How much better can life get? How deep can we go in this embodiment? How much more pleasure can I feel in my body and create for the people around me? It's actually a really sacred experience to be devotionally connected to our daily routine, our daily practice. That's why there's so many, you know, TikToks and YouTubes of people who are like, my daily routine, because we want to see how other people are making their opportunity sacred, their life sacred to them, you know, in a very unique and beautiful way. Yeah. I love to cook. And maybe we can just cook, meditate together for a couple of hot minutes. I say hot because A, I'm hot, and B, the chilies are in front of me. So have a little minute. I just invite you to close your eyes and maybe imagine the next meal you're going to cook for yourself, for a loved one, for your family, some friends, maybe, whatever you're going to do. And just imagine what ingredients you're going to have laid out in front of you. Gentle breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. You've got a little knife in your hand. And similar to myself, you're just going to start chopping. Chop, 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 chop. Chopping, preparing, whatever you need to do. And we're just going to set a little intention for this food. Maybe it's to feel more love, to feel love in general, to feel peace, to have connection with those you're going to be eating with. What does that look like for you? Gentle breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're just going to continue this process and just get really excited, get really meditative about whatever you're preparing. How can you move or imagine with a little more love in your heart, in your life, in your body? Maybe these sound like alien concepts right now, but trust me that the question and intention is a huge, huge step in the right direction of feeling those feelings. Gentle breaths in and out. And now just gently giving the shoulders a little roll up, back and around, up, back and around. Bring the hands together at heart center. Bless your hands, bless the food, bless the mouths. It will pass through. We are consciously nourishing our bodies, each other, with all we consume and all that we do. All unfolds in the perfect way. I love you so much and have a beautiful day. This was fun.